Now, stay tuned for Super Trax, America's ultimate mudded monster truck challenge.
Hi, everyone. I'm Chris Chapman at the Capitol Center in Landover, Maryland, where inside we'll see monster trucks and car-smashing side-by-side action.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Superdome in New Orleans. I'm Brett Kepner with the world's quickest and fastest indoor motorsports machines, the Super Modified Mud Racers, gathered here for one of the toughest battles yet. In just a moment, you'll see over a dozen of the nation's quickest and fastest mud racers battling an 80-foot-long course for low elapsed time championship honors in wild side-by-side action. Welcome to Super Trax. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Capitol Center in Landover, Maryland, as we get ready for qualifying in the U.S. Hobbit Association's Camel Mud Racing and Monster Truck Championship Tour, with Monster Truck action leading the way. The first machine out will be Les Anderson in the ever-popular 1950 Chevrolet, known as Gravedigger, a truck that has taken the nation by storm in this rather unusual form of motorsports, becoming one of the most popular entities in the 15-year history of this business. He'll be the first man up on this 125-foot-long straightaway course. He'll be running against the elapsed time clock as we qualify for position before eliminations first round. Backing into the starting line area, the rear-engine supercharged Chevrolet, obviously one of the crowd favorites, lines up and gets ready to set the pace in this qualifying field. Anderson adjusting the straps on the helmet, adjusting the mandatory neck collar, one of the many, many pieces of mandatory safety equipment required by these drivers and the U.S. Hobbit Association. Now, inching forward up to the starting line proper. The flagmen ready on the starting line. And Anderson takes the green on the first run. A beautiful airborne launch, a little bit sideways on the landing. You can see the driver's side door actually pop open at the finish line. But the elapsed time for the North Carolina Chevrolet, 3.19 seconds, and that will lead qualifying here at this U.S. Hobbit Association event. But plenty more machines yet to come, including this beautiful GMC, Danny Tassori's Star Monster, the New York-based Chevrolet-powered machine that utilizes, of all things, a small block Chevrolet engine, giving up quite a bit of horsepower to some of its opponents. But indeed, a machine that has already proven in the 1991 U.S. Hobbit Association Camel Tour to be more than competitive. As Tessori lines up on the starting line itself, pulling out onto the track is probably the single crowd favorite machine here, even bigger than Gravedigger. It's Maryland's own Michael Vaughters and the Black Stallion Ford. Vaughters, in his third full year of U.S. Hobbit Association monster truck competition, utilizes an entirely home-built configuration in this Ford F-350, the supercharged, fuel-injected Ford Wedge motor, an entirely home-built chassis setup, and an immaculate piece of equipment make this one impressive operation. And of course, at this particular event on the 65-stop U.S. Hobbit Association Camel Tour, Vaughters wants more than anything to win big in front of the hometown fans. While Vaughters waits patiently, it'll be a solo run for the Star Monster Chevrolet. A little bit of a nosedive at the finish line and some wild bounces in the shutdown area, but the Star Monster Chevrolet records an elapsed time of 2.78 seconds. One of the best runs this year for the New Yorker, and it'll be good enough to displace Gravedigger in the #1 spot. That means it's up to this young man. Can the hometown hitter in the Ford displace the two Chevrolets that have swapped the lead? Keep in mind that preliminaries here at Landover, Maryland alone were a nightmare for the Black Stallion team. Michael Vaughters, attempting to qualify well in an earlier event here in Landover, Maryland, ran into one of the most devastating problems he has ever faced. Vaughters was intent on beating the best, but this incredible landing did more damage than anybody could believe to the Black Stallion Ford in just a 120-foot course. Vaughters was out of the truck and surveying the damage immediately, trying to figure what it would take to get this truck ready for this particular event. And only through thrashing literally all day long could he get ready for this qualifying attempt. Vaughters now moves to the starting line. In the Black Stallion Ford, you can see the repairs make the truck look immaculate again. He's got to go quicker than 2.78 seconds. An incredible leap, but something goes away and the chassis breaks one more time. The suspension component's failing miserably, and Vaughters is upset this time around. 2 straight runs and 2 straight major problems leave the Black Stallion at this angle. The big question is whether or not Vaughters and crew can repair the damage this time around. Once again, you can see him surveying every single end of this racetrack. The crowd voicing their hopes that he can get the hometown vehicle back into eliminations, but right now Vaughters looks simply stunned. It appears right now that structural damage may not have played as big a part as shock absorber failure. We'll have to see the replay. But the most incredible aspect of this run is the fact that the elapsed time was 2.31 seconds. #1 qualifier again here on the replay. You see that puff of smoke from the left front wheel opening. And then the body panels fall down on the tire. A lot of damage. Chris Chapman is with him.
Those cars obviously weren't enough for the gentleman sitting to my left. As he went to the line, he just decided he'd clear them all. Mike, what's going on out there?
Well, we put a lot more horsepower in the vehicle, and we got lighter tires, and the horsepower is a great deal more than what we used to run, and I just give it all it had and shifted second. I knew I was going to clear them all, but when I landed, I broke a few of my shocks, and I'm running airbags for suspension. And when they broke, they punctured the bags, and that's what caused the truck to go over to one side.
I told him before we left home, I said, I know something's going to happen. You're not used to the horsepower. You're not used to the new tires. Something's really going to happen. Is your adrenaline pumping right now? Yes, it is, and my heart's going 1,000 miles an hour. Is that pretty scary?
It wasn't really scary. I just wanted to know what I did to the truck.
Hopefully Mike will be able to get it fixed. I don't know. The last time he was here, he blew a motor up and had it changed. But then for the next show, and hopefully he can do something to get this fixed. Black Stallion, is it going to be back anytime soon?
Oh, yeah. We're going to come on the circuit strong. We got a lot more horsepower now. We've changed the suspension around. We went to 4-link, and we're looking to go into a lot higher tech shock, so it'll land a lot better.
Mike, good luck.
Thank you.
Well, as we continue qualifying, the mark to beat is now 2.31 seconds by Michael Vaughters. And here's Anthony Fortier in one of the most popular monsters you'll ever see on the U.S. Hobbit Association Trail. How about a 1968 Ford Mustang fastback monster truck? One of the few full factory-bodied door slammers in the sport. Fortier's supercharged Ford-powered machine takes it through the elapsed time, 3.47 seconds. That'll be good for the #4 spot. So, obviously, Michael Vaughters' Black Stallion leads the field at 2:31, followed by the Starbuster Chevy at 2:78. Gravedigger is now #3, but it's time for the Crunch of the Week. 1 year ago, you want chassis failure. Watch the equalizer land on the left front and have everything come apart. An incredible landing that saw the left front wheel literally separate from the chassis in one of the wildest finishes ever. That's this week's Crunch of the Week. Super Trax will be right back with more extreme motorsports action. Don't go away. Welcome back to the Capitol Center in Landover, Maryland, as we continue qualifying for this U.S. Hobbit Association Monster Truck Championship Series event. We've already seen the Gravedigger knocked down to #3, but coming up, the Wrecker Chevrolet. A sideways run, and driver Mike Mueller runs into problems right at the finish line, and boy, is that going to hurt his elapsed time. A little bit of a nosedive, and then the rear of the truck literally sliding to the left off the cars. The elapsed time, 3.50 seconds. That'll only be good right now for the number 5 position in this program. The next machine already on the line. It's the man who's been dominating U.S. Hobbit Association action this year, Rob Fusion, the First Blood Ford. A picture-perfect run with a violent landing, to be sure. The First Blood machine, 2.81 seconds. Number 3 qualifier for Rob Fuchsia's Illinois Pomoco product. And that will place him, as I said, number 3 behind hometown hero Michael Waters in the Black Stallion Ford and the Starmaster Chevrolet. Gravedigger now knocked way down in the field. The question right now is whether or not the Black Stallion Ford can return. Stay with us because we've also got super modified mud racing coming up. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Superdome in New Orleans as we get ready for the qualifying round for the world's quickest and fastest indoor motorsports machines, the Super Modified Mud Racers. An 80-foot-long course. The objective to qualify among the 4 quickest elapsed times over that distance. And you must stop the machines in another 80 feet past the finish line or risk disqualification. The first machine up, John Kreutz and the Magic Moments 1932 Ford 5-window coupe, powered by a 2,000 horsepower supercharged Chevrolet big block engine. He'll be up against the beautiful Bounty Hunter of Buddy Kuhn, one of the few full-bodied entries. Kreutz runs into problems, literally bogging down near the finish line, and that won't help him. The elapsed time, 2.46 seconds. And now the carbureted, gas-burning, full-bodied Chevy truck of Kuhn moves to the starting line. Waiting for the green light countdown, Kuhn readies himself and plows through the mud effortlessly. The elapsed time, 2.93 seconds. Not bad, considering that truck is giving up literally 1,500 pounds in weight to some of its opponents. Here's the defending champion and the track record holder. This is Oklahoma's Larry Jarrett, the supercharged Chevy-powered locomotion, and he'll be up against the fatal attraction coupe of Richard Milstead. Another supercharged 2,000 horsepower Chevrolet entry. Jarrett holds the track record at an awesome 1.96 seconds. Both machines lining up, staging together. But Jarrett gets a huge hole shot on the brakes to stop. He puts the machine sideways. Jarrett, 2.03 seconds. Exceptional run, while Milstead puts down an equally strong run of 2.13 seconds. Mike Pasina, one of Louisiana's own, with the low-rider Ford-powered 1920 3/4T Roadster called the Stud, moves it up against the beautiful new entry of Keith Metcalf called Mobad. Another 5-window early model Ford coupe, this one again with Chevrolet motivation. Metcalf, in his first event with this brand new vehicle, stages up ever so cautiously. Sideways at the finish line, Metcalf all over the racetrack. Finally gets it stopped facing the starting line. He's upset with that one. The elapsed time, a disqualification, 2:23, while Pasina goes 2.10 seconds. An exceptional run for the lowrider T-Roadster. Here's the Maniac entry of Jerry Rector, a supercharged Chevrolet-powered Jeep CJ funny car. A lightweight entry moving up against Richard Larson's Radical USA 1. You want to talk about a low-rider machine with a lot of weight towards the rear of the entry. This four-wheel drive machine is a one-of-a-kind entry. Larson runs into problems, and Rector puts it sideways, trying to stop the Maniac. Larson, nothing but problems in the USA 1 machine. Rector unloads a beautiful 283. That'll qualify for the time being, but a 4.09 second run won't help the USA 1 team. How about the bad to the bone 1923 Ford T taking on Bobby Coon's Delirious? Coons utilizing Chevrolet power in his Jeep-bodied machine. In the other lane, a supercharged, fuel-injected Keith Black aluminum Chrysler Hemi in the bad-to-the-bone Roadster. A great side-by-side battle sideways again, and nearly a collision in the shutdown area. Coon barely survives that one as the bad-to-the-bone machine gets big time out of shape. 2.45 seconds in the far lane. Coon a tremendous 2.26-second run. And the drivers end up staring at each other at the top end. As action continues here at the Super Modified Mud Racing ranks at the Superdome in New Orleans, here's the way qualifying stacks up. It's defending champion Larry Jarrett at 2.03 seconds, followed by Mike Pausina's 2:10. Then the 2:13 by Rich Milstead, and on the 4-car bump spot right now, Bobby Coon at 2:26. That brings us to this week's Power Drive. It was in front of 45,000 screaming race fans at Tampa Stadium. The defending U.S. Harvard Association Camel Monster Truck World Champ Fred Schaefer in the Barefoot Chevrolet came from behind to defeat one of the toughest fields assembled yet in 1991 with this high-flying finish. Fred Schaefer is world champion for a reason. That's this week's Power Drive. Super Trax will be right back with more extreme motorsports action. Don't go away. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Superdome in New Orleans. A packed house of some 40,000 screaming race fans awaits the continuation of the qualifying round here in Super Modified Mud Racing competition. The first man up, Donnie Mars in the Hammer Time Chevrolet S10. He'll be up against the Terminator, Chuck Jacobs' radical supercharged lowrider Chevy pickup that appears to be one of the strongest and lightest out there. Notice the giant rear wing on the back of the machine in the far lane. The Hammer Time Chevrolet leaves the starting line. And a great side-by-side battle. The Hammer Time Chevy actually gets to the finish line first at 2.63 seconds, while the Terminator runs 2.70 seconds. Only 0.07 of a second between them at the finish line, but neither one will qualify. Remember, you've got to go quicker than 2.26 seconds to make the program right now. And here's James Tollison, one of the old-timers in the far lane with the Sandpacker, against the incredible Joker's Wild of Ken Slider in the near lane. Tollison, a great run. Slider breaks right off the starting line. The elapsed time for Tollison, 2.25 seconds. He makes the program on the bump. Here's Larry D'Antoni, another Louisiana local with the Addicted to Mud roofless roadster with supercharged Chevrolet power. An incredible run. D'Antoni on the brakes makes the program at 2.02 seconds. An unbelievable run for a driver coming back from a horrendous crash right here at the Superdome 1 year ago. That means it takes a run right now of 2.13 seconds to get in. Larry Kalikas in a machine aptly named Outrageous moves it up against the Big Blue Master Blaster. Problems for the Blaster as Kalikas' Outrageous takes it through at 2.52 seconds and won't get in. The Boss 429 shotgun-powered Master Blaster sits a dead duck at mid-track. 2.13 seconds, still the mark to get in. Darren Matthews in the Hyperactive, a Toyota pickup with carbureted nitrous-injected Ford power. But he will be up against one of the most powerful machines in the sport. Kansas City, Kansas's Ken Crum in the supercharged Chevrolet called Wild Thing. In the shutdown area, Ken Crum unloads an incredible ride. Darren Matthews in the far lane had his problems with the Hyperactive at 309, but this run sideways in the shutdown area, 1.98 seconds. Ken, you have got to be thrilled with that kind of run. To pull out a 1-second effort, the second one ever here, this late in the game is incredible.
Yeah, it is. I'm really surprised.
You knew when you came up that the starting line was extremely slippery. Did you do anything different to try and get this thing down that quick?
Well, we let the tire pressure down some, but we don't have the bead locks a lot of guys have, so we couldn't get down too low. Seemed to work out.
Still incredible run. The second quickest pass ever at this place, Guy. We'll see you in the shootout. So Ken Crum makes the program with the quickest run of the event, 1.98 seconds, only 200ths off the track record. A 2:02 for returning champ Larry D'Antoni. Larry Jarrett, the defending champ, is third, and a 2:10 puts Mike Pausino fourth. But coming up, we not only have the Camel Mud Racing Shootout, we have the return of monster truck competition from Landover, Maryland, all coming up. Stay with us. We're back in the Landover Capitol Center in Maryland as we get ready for the first round of side-by-side monster truck competition. We saw some rather unusual antics in qualifying, but the big question remains as to whether or not our number one qualifier, Michael Waters in the Black Stallion Ford, will be able to return for this first round of eliminations after suffering an incredible mishap in qualifying that found an awful lot of broken parts on the Black Ford. It'll be the Gravedigger, number 4 qualifier, first up on the starting line, taking on number 7, the Pony Express Ford Mustang. The 50 Chevrolet, known as the Gravedigger, annihilating the Pony Express Ford. It was never even a battle. In fact, on the replay, you can see that Les Anderson actually got the whole shot off the starting line. The Ford product was never in contention in the first matchup of the round. The crowd loves it as the green Chevrolet advances to round number 2. But here's Anthony Tesori's Star Monster Chevrolet, the small block machine that proved so quick in qualifying, number 2 in the field, taking on Norm Gogan's Kid Stuff Chevrolet, a pair of showstoppers on the line. It looked like Gogan may have left the line right with the Star Monster, but Tesori bouncing all over the shutdown area, gets the win. Sure enough, they left dead even, but look at the Star Monster bouncing all over the place. A little bit of smoke out from underneath the fenders, but the crowd loves it as another Chevrolet goes to round number 2. Gogan heads for the pit area. The next pair already on the line. It's Ford and Chevrolet. The wrecker of Mike Beeler takes on the killer, the first blood Ford of Rob Fuchs, who has done so incredibly well this year. And it's the Ford with a full truck length lead at the finish line. Beeler Chevrolet left the line, but after the first 5 feet, it wasn't a battle anymore, as the incredible wedge-head Ford machine goes into the pits a winner. So in the semifinal round, it'll be the Gravedigger against Michael Waters' Black Stallion, which has made its bye run and will be in the semifinal round. And on the other half of the ladder, First Blood takes on Star Monster. We've also got Super Modified Mud Racing Championships that go with the Battle of the Monster Four-Wheelers. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Capitol Center in Landover, Maryland. Pulling out onto the floor of this arena is the young man who has gone through literal hell during this event. After nearly destroying the truck 2 consecutive nights in qualifying, the Black Stallion Ford is patched together and ready to take on probably the single most popular machine nationwide in monster truck racing. Les Anderson's Gravedigger, which qualified well down in this field, moves up alongside this beautiful Black Ford that qualified number 1 in the field. Can Waters make the Stallion hold together for one more run? And the answer is a resounding no, as something goes away and the Black Stallion almost immediately off the starting line, and Les Anderson and the Gravedigger advances to the final round. Randy Spraggins of the U.S. Hobbit Association tells the happy winner that he'll be in the championship dash. A wild landing as always for the Gravedigger. A lot of disappointment for Michael Waters of the Black Stallion. Meanwhile, the battle to see who races Gravedigger for the championship is pulling to the line. Dan Tesori's Star Monster moves it up against the incredible First Blood Ford. Rob Fuchsia's done amazing things with the big red Ford in the far lane this year, but you gotta admit, the Eastern Bay Chevrolet in the near lane has been more than impressive not only at this event, but throughout the young season. An incredibly close battle, but the First Blood Ford takes the win by a matter of 5 feet or less at the finish line. Take a look at the replay. Right at the finish line, it is literally no more than 5 feet between the two at the finish line, setting up a Ford versus Chevrolet championship dash between two of the toughest trucks of the 1991 U.S. Hobbit Association Championship season. And what a season it's been. A week ago at the Nassau Coliseum in Uniondale, New York, the U.S. Hobbit Association Camel fans were treated to some of the closest racing we've ever seen with monster trucks. And as we recap the action, we talked to low qualifier Gary Porter in the Carolina Crusher. We'll have lane choice throughout the evening as long as you keep winning. Is that going to be a factor as it has been at this building in the past?
I think it will. The lane choice is a big factor right now, and as long as the lanes stay like they are, I want to stay where I'm at as far as lanes go.
He chose the right-hand lane and took on Rob Fuchsia in the First Blood Ford in the very first round. An incredibly close race that saw the First Blood Ford get out of shape, but Porter ended up winning by the slimmest of margins. Then it was world champ Fred Schaefer in barefoot taking on the Black Stallion, and Schaefer's Chevrolet emerged victorious. Then Schaefer had to take on the dreaded Bigfoot Ford and took this half-truck win to the surprise of the Ford fans and the delight of the Chevy people. But then Porter had to battle the Gravedigger. Who could pick the winner? It took the electronic timers to decide it.
Got a pretty good light, but Gary's been running all night, running good all night, and I figured if I had to lose, I'd rather lose to a boy from Carolina than somebody from Missouri.
Now the big battle, you and Barefoot, the defending world champ. Anything you can do there that you think might give you an advantage?
I'm just going to cut a real close light, and hopefully the right lane will give me enough advantage to take the win.
And you know Fred Schaefer will run over you if he has to.
He will, Fred. It's going to be very tough, and it's going to be a close race.
Gary Porter was an upset here, and it's going to take a lot to get him.
Is there anything specific about that truck that you think gives him an advantage?
It seems like he's making a lot of horsepower tonight.
Is it more of just a driver ability, you think?
I can't really tell. It looks like he's leaving. He's leaving real hard, and he's making some horsepower, and he has got the lane choice advantage, and one lane is a little better than the other one, so it's going to be a real close race.
Schaefer had beaten Bigfoot. Porter had beaten Gravedigger. But the biggest battle came in the final round, incredibly enough, as the world champ took on the bright yellow Chevrolet. Porter lined up on the starting line more cautiously than ever, staying in his favored right-hand lane. Then the intensity could be felt throughout the building as they waited for the green light to come on. Line. Who could tell again? But as the electronic timers brought it up, the crowd went nuts as they found out Barefoot took the win by the slimmest of margins in one of the closest national event final rounds ever. Another situation where it took a replay to determine it. It was that close.
I was really worried about it, Brett. That lane over there is a little bit soft, and I'm really surprised, to be honest with you.
I'll be honest with you. Throughout the season, we've seen a lot of come from behind in the air races. We've seen a lot of hole shots. This one looked as dead even as it could throughout the whole race. We'll have to look at it again. How did it feel inside the truck? What went through your mind?
Well, I tried to move over, and I know I was going to get too much air, but I tried to get out of everybody else's tracks because they had the ground tore up so bad, and that's why the truck got so much air, but I took a chance again that and spinning, and I think it paid off.
Fred Schaefer won the World Championship last year in a battle that went to the final race of the season. Believe me when I tell you it's going to be. We have more action coming up on this edition of Super Trax, including the 4 quickest mud racing qualifiers in the Camel Shootout and a Ford versus Chevy Gravedigger First Blood War in monster trucks. We're back at the Superdome in Louisiana with the 4 quickest Camel mud racers ready to do battle for the championship, including a young man who 1 year ago at this event went through the worst of times. Larry D'Antoni debuted the Addicted to Mud machine with this incredible crash, but now 1 year later is back in the Camel Shootout with a chance at the championship. He'll be up first in this 4-car shootout in the near lane against defending champ and track record holder Larry Jarrett in the Oklahoma-based Locomotion entry. The Big White Machine and the Roofless Red Coupe, utilizing nearly identical supercharged 2,000 horsepower Chevrolet engines. The 4 quickest drivers from qualifying now battle it out with the quickest elapsed time between these machines, winning the overall title. D'Antoni waits patiently on the line for Jarrett to get his Big White entry lined up. Jarrett is no fool. A pair of back-to-back 1-second runs last year ended up in a victory and a 196 track mark. In this particular event, D'Antoni qualified at 2.02 seconds. Jarrett made the field at 2.03. A great side-by-side battle. D'Antoni airborne through the shutdown area. The comeback kid records a 2.06-second elapsed time. Jarrett had problems. Tire spin at 2.30 seconds, but D'Antoni's crew is elated. Look at this run. Picture perfect. Airborne through the shutdown area. Unbelievable job.
The big question is Ken Crum. You saw him go 198 in the first round. Can he go quicker than the 206 you just ran?
I'm sure he can.
So you think this is going to end up with you coming out second best?
Oh, it's not over to the fat lady cackles.
That's for sure. We'll see you in just a minute.
Obviously, the look of concern on Larry D'Antoni's face, but it still has to be mixed with the personal satisfaction of coming back from that horrendous crash a year ago to put down one of the quickest runs of the event in front of his hometown fans. But now 2 drivers are left to try to knock D'Antoni out of the #1 spot. Mike Pasina, another Louisiana campaigner, with the stud, takes on the awesome rear-engine, lightweight mud dragster of Kansas's Ken Crum. The Wild Thing machine unloaded that spectacular 1.98-second run in qualifying. Pasina's lowrider Ford qualified with one of his best runs ever, a 2.10-second effort. All Pasina has to do is pick up 0.05 of a second, and he can better the leader. But Crum has already proven that he's got at least a 1/10 of a second quicker advantage than anybody else. After connecting the cowling and putting Crum in the car, he now primes the engine and gets ready to fire up the supercharged Chevrolet. You'll notice these machines are still muddy from their first round contest. Under U.S. Hobbit Association rules, the drivers may not clean their cars before the shootout round, keeping the extra weight they added with the mud on the cars at an equal for everybody. The ground crew connects the kill switch that will automatically shut the engines down at the 80-foot finish line. Pasina will get the first shot at bettering the 2.06 leading mark. Ken Crum lines up in the other lane, but he'll be getting a solo shot. Pasina will be sent alone. And it appears that drivetrain problems may have set in for Pasina. We'll have to look at the replay, but it looked like the Ford-powered Aldred had no power going to the front wheels. That's exactly what the problem was. A 2-wheel drive effort of only 2.58 seconds. That brings it down to 1 run. 1 man, 1 machine against the clocks. Ken Crum must go quicker than 2.06 seconds to win. Unbelievable, taking down the banners on the brakes. Incredible crash. And his crewman takes a dive as well. Larry D'Antoni in the red fire suit, one of the first drivers out to see if Ken Crum is okay. What an unbelievable finish as Crum's machine in a huge wheel stand gets literally out of control, then can't stop on the slick concrete floor of the Superdome. The helmet comes off and Crum is apparently okay. What a ride. His crew helps him out of the cockpit. And the crowd can't believe what they've just seen. What an incredible run. On the replay, carrying the right front wheel, then getting sideways, taking down the banners, and a sideways hit on a full. Unbelievable job. Of course, taking down the banners, let alone crashing into another vehicle, is a disqualification for Crum, but Larry D'Antoni makes the ultimate comeback. We're back, as a matter of fact, now in Landover, Maryland, for the final round of the monster truck shootout on the Camel U.S. Hobbit Association Trail in a Ford versus Chevrolet matchup that pits the winningest driver of 1991 so far against probably the most popular machine in the last decade of monster truck racing. It'll be young, independent Rob Fuchs in the First Blood Ford, the working-class hero who built his Ford F-350 pickup at home alone in his garage. No major sponsorships to speak of. He will be taking on the crowd favorite anywhere, the big green 50 Chevy sedan delivery known as the Grave Digger of Les Anderson, the Kill Devil Hills, North Carolina campaigner with the rear-engine Chevrolet. Qualified well down in the field, but has come back strong during eliminations. Rob Fuchs has lane choice in this matchup, and I believe he will stick with the right-hand side of the course where he has been throughout eliminations. The Gravedigger Chevrolet, now in its 6th year of monster truck competition, its first full season of U.S. Hobbit Association Camel action, has been this 1991 championship tour. Both racers involved in the Camel World Championship battle, where a $150,000 World Championship points purse awaits the winning competitors at the end of the season. Both drivers taking their time lining up. You can see Les Anderson checking the traction available in the left-hand lane. He's had some wild runs so far during this event. Even in qualifying, he was busy popping the driver's side door open. But Rob Fuchs has been the picture of consistency. Qualifying in the field number 3 at 2.81 seconds. The Gravedigger Chevy was about 0.3 of a second slower than that in the number 4 spot. The championship dash on the line. The whole shot goes to the Ford. And it's a walkover for Rob Fuchs. Not even close on the replay. Big-time problems for Les Anderson. It appeared there may not have been power going to the rear wheels of the Gravedigger. And Rob Fuchs picks up yet another U.S. Hobbit Association National Championship title in the 1991 season. The young man in the Ford from Woodstock, Illinois, has been absolutely unbeatable in the 1991 season so far. A disappointed Anderson will head back to the pits, but if we know Rob Fuchs, he'll be propping this thing up on the crush cars and saluting the crowd as he does at every event. There we go. All 4 wheels off the ground. Fuchs shuts down the supercharged Ford power plant. Obviously elated with yet another title in his pocket. It's amazing how much this young man has accomplished on a limited budget. Certainly no major sponsorships, no heavy research and development budgets have helped him in any way, shape, or form. It's just been the classic combination of blood, sweat, and tears. This particular victory, as well as the others he has scored in 1991, certainly give him a legitimate chance at ending up as the 1991 U.S. Hobbit Association World Champion. And look at the people he's got to get around to keep in contention for that title. The Bigfoot Ford, the Gravedigger Chevrolet, World Champ Fred Schaefer, and the Barefoot Chevrolet. Not to mention people like Gary Porter and several other trucks that are equally as strong on a week-in and week-out basis on a 65-stop national event championship tour. Les Anderson obviously disgusted with the parts breakage that kept him from winning this particular national event, but you can bet the Gravedigger will be back. And we'll be back. When Super Trax returns, we'll get a chance to talk to our monster truck and mud racing race for a local driver. Larry D'Antoni pulls off this run to win at the Superdome.
Well, buddy, you have come back from some serious problems today. Problems before the event even started.
Right, we lit the injector hat before the event even started. We were lucky enough to get it off pretty well.
It almost seemed like you were as surprised as anybody with the 202 in the first round. Is that what you were ready to come out and put down?
Yeah, we was looking at least a 202 to get us to in Final Four. Jarrett's a tough contender. We were lucky to get squeaked by him, but I think it was more than luck.
And this was more than luck. The fact that Ken Crum came out of this unscathed was incredible.
To tell every one of these folks.
Yeah, you know it is, but starts getting away from you. All you can do is try to make it to the other end.
Now, I want every single one of you to listen to this. Even though it was a disqualification, the elapsed time on the run was 1.86 seconds. The quickest run in the history of this track. Question is, why couldn't you stop?
Well, the concrete's so slick out here and the tires get wet. Normally, as you can see, I came out and didn't get in the sand. Just came out in slick concrete. That's all we could do. Hold on.
You did hold on. It was a wild ride. Congratulations on the numbers. I know you're disappointed about not getting the win. Larry D'Antoni wins his first ever national championship, and a great job.
Okay, thanks a lot.
A picture-perfect run in an event that featured everything. Quick times and lots of action. Larry D'Antoni goes into the record books as a winner, and so did Rob Fuchs in the First Blood Ford, defeating a problem-plagued gravedigger in Landover, Maryland, with a full 3-truck advantage at the finish line of the 120-foot course. Chris Chapman talked with Rob.
1991 has just been giving this man win after win after win. Rob Fuchs, a fantastic win over Gravedigger.
Thank you. I can't complain on the whole night went. The truck's been working really well. All three races this year so far. I hope I can keep it up all year.
Are you excited about this?
Oh yeah, I am. I've never raced Gravedigger before. It's actually my first time, and it's kind of nice to beat him first time.
So do you have just maybe in the back of your mind just a little bit of disappointment that it wasn't Dennis Anderson behind the wheel?
Well, I guess it really doesn't matter where's the truck. So I said it was the first time I've ever raced him, and I'm glad I beat him.
Another wild battle, and Les Anderson certainly has indicated that he'll be back.
The monster truck final, it was between First Blood and Gravedigger, and Les, I believe he did draw the First Blood from you.
Yeah, I broke an axle on the last run that I did, and there wasn't nothing else I could really do.
So you went to the line, you spun your wheels, why?
And just to show the crowd I could spin the front wheels, that's all. The back axle was broken, and there wasn't nothing else I could do.
Let's talk about Dennis and you. You want to have competition between him, don't you?
Yeah, it would be fun. Yeah, it would. It would be fun, definitely. But I think we'd tear both trucks up, because neither one of us would give.
Well, Les, maybe we will see a Gravedigger matchup in the future, but until then, good luck.
Okay, thank you.
With the winning truck, First Blood, at the Capitol Center in Landover, Maryland, I'm Chris Chapman. Good night and good trucking.
Thanks for being with us. I'm Brett Kepner. See you next time.